fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. Today I am here, as you can see, for a WIP chat. I haven't filmed one of those in a while. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh my goodness. I remembered to do everything else. I have my tray, I have my drills, I have everything set up, I turned off my phone, I set my timer. And so, of course, I come in here and sit down to talk, and I immediately need to sneeze. Such is life, right? I did also remember to bring in some notes with me, so if I get too far off track and rambling, I have some things that I thought would be interesting to talk about. I am working on my Kandinsky. I'm going to be using my newest diamond painting pen. I have put in a steel tip that I got off of Amazon, and I don't know if I've unboxed these yet or not. I don't think I have, so you'll have to wait for the video on that. And then I'm just using the 4-placer that came with it because I'm lazy. And yeah, let's see. What do I want to talk about first? Well, let me just update you on this canvas. This is my Kandinsky canvas for Summer with the Masters. And I just suddenly saw a drill that I had missed way over here off to the side. So while I'm talking, let me fill that one in, because that's kind of crazy that I just missed that one. I've been working on this one and trying to get it done because I have another event coming up in July that I want to do a canvas for, and that is the JBG along, which I unboxed the Lenore for, so I'll stick a card up in the corner there for that. But so I'm trying to get this one done so that I can move on to that one, because I have lots of other things that I want to be doing. And so yeah, I'm down in this section to basically just 2 colors. This canvas is a little strange because this is an abstract. There's like a lot of background in certain places, and then like right here, this big section was all colors, which was actually nice because the drills up here were not problem drills for me, so it was all good that I was doing that section. So I am down to just these 2, which I hope to finish this section while I'm chatting with you guys, and then I can move on to the next section so that I can get some progress done. I had hoped to work this past weekend some on my Diana canvas. I didn't make it that far, but that's okay. My husband is going to be gone on a job this week, so my intention is that while he is out of town, to take over the dining room table once again with Diana and get some progress made on her, hopefully before I get to the first of the month, which is just a couple of days away, so we'll see how I do. I also have to go into work a couple of times between now and then to get some things done. And I just have a lot of projects going on at the moment, which is good. I enjoy being busy. It keeps me from getting into trouble. I get into trouble when I'm bored. So I was just commenting today that in a lot of ways, discovering diamond painting has saved my sanity. Not just because it's kind of a form of therapy for me, but just because it keeps me busy. The YouTube channel keeps me busy, diamond painting keeps me busy, all the projects that I want to get to, you know, give me something to look forward to, and so that keeps me busy. I also like having a routine. I don't do well when I don't have a routine, and so I've made a really concerted effort this summer to have a routine so that, you know, I kind of keep myself on track. I struggle with consistency sometimes, and so having a routine, you know, allows me that consistency, and so I just feel better mentally when I have that routine going. So I am walking 3 times a week with my youngest. We go out, get up in the morning, and start our day with a morning walk, which is nice. I just did that today, as a matter of fact. And although in some ways it was nice, it's so humid here, which is crazy because it's not really ever been humid here. I mean, I've lived here my whole life, and, you know, it gets hot in the summer. And of course, that doesn't bode well for this summer either, because it's so hot so soon that I'm really afraid, you know, we don't normally get really hot until July or August is when we really kind of, the heat starts hitting us, and it's already here. So I'm afraid to see what kind of temps we're going to see in July and August because of how hot it is already. And of course, you know, not great for my husband that it's this hot already. He works outside all day, and he's required to wear long sleeve shirt and long pants for safety reasons, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad they do that for safety reasons. I want him to be safe, but man, that makes it hot. So I just try to remind him to drink a lot of water every day. And yeah. So anyway, he's going to be gone. I'm going to take over the dining room table, get some progress made on Diana. And then once I feel like I have some progress made on her, I can put her away for a week or so. And because I know that is just going to be a project that I have to put away and come back to, even though I don't really like doing that. But that's okay. It's such a big project. That's just the way it's going to have to be. I mean, I could just sit down and kind of try and bang it out, but I think I would burn myself out if I did that. So I don't want to, because I don't want to burn myself out. I take breaks from diamond painting. I try to diamond paint a little bit every day, but there are certainly days where I don't make that goal. There are days where I don't have time to diamond paint at all, because we just have, you know, life going on. And so, you know, you just do the best you can, right? That's all you can do, is the best you can. Do the best you can with what you've got, where you are. And that's a hard lesson to learn. I'm still learning it myself, because I'm not very patient sometimes. And so having that patience and learning that I just have to kind of wait sometimes, whether that's on other people or events or other factors or whatever the case may be. Progress is progress, even if it doesn't seem like it sometimes. I think that's one of the things I like about diamond painting, is that, you know, it's a visual, there's a visual, what am I trying to say? You can see your progress visually. That's what I'm trying to say. Because as you diamond paint, of course, you get things done. And so pictures appear, pieces appear, and you can tell that you've done something, which in a lot of things is not quite so apparent. So that's good. We are still on track for a lot of the things. My oldest is finishing up the last course she needs for her degree. So we have that to look forward to at the end of the summer. And I'm still coaxing my youngest, shall we say, to try and get him to sign up for next semester's classes before everything is full. I don't know if I'll be successful. And I try to just remember that, you know, he's the one that has to pay the price if he waits until the last minute and doesn't get what he wants, right? I've reminded him that's all I can do. I can't sign up for things for him. Isn't that that's kind of funny to me. I don't know how it is in other places, but you know, here in the US, once you turn 18, you're considered an adult. So lots of things that your parents used to do for you, they can't anymore. So legally, of course, once he turns 18, I can't be involved in his school. Even though I pay the tuition, I can't look at his grades. I can't sign him up for classes. I can't call and ask any questions. Not that I would do that anyway. I mean, call and ask questions, but if I could, I might sign him up for classes, sadly. Just because, again, that's part of my thing. I'm not patient. And if it was me, I wouldn't want to wait until the last minute and take the chance that I'm not going to get the classes that I want. Of course, when I was his age, I had more of an idea of what I wanted to do, even though where I've ended up looks nothing like that. I kind of think that's how life goes. And I've tried to tell my kids that, you know, you can make plans, but things don't always go the way you plan. And that's okay. You know, it's not the end of the world if things don't work out the way you planned. It's not the end of the world if you change your mind. I remember when I was in college and I wanted to change my mind, and my goodness, my parents made me feel like it was, you know, the end of everything, and I was going to have to start all over if I changed plans, which of course is not true, but that's how they made it feel sometimes. I try not to do that with my kids because I want my kids to be happy. And I don't know what that looks like for them because I'm not them, you know. Some days I'm not sure what happy looks like for me, you know, and that's okay. I'm a firm believer in you can't be happy 24/7. If you're not happy, you don't understand sad. And I think when you have had sad, you appreciate happy more, right? My theory, anyway. I'm also a firm believer that experiences matter more than things. Life is too short, and I think some people lose sight of that while they're busy focusing on other things. I mean, you know, it's great to have goals. I'm not saying don't have goals, but it's not the end of the world if you don't meet that goal or your goals change, you know. I think that's something that's a struggle for a lot of people, is that, you know, you set a goal and you think, okay, I have to work till I finish this and I achieve this goal. And, you know, that's great. Awesome. But I also think it's okay if, you know, during your journey towards that goal, you decide, you know what, this isn't really what I want anymore. I think I'd rather have this other thing over here. I'm going to work towards that now. Or you decide, I want both of those things. I'm going to work towards both of them now. And so maybe because now you're working towards two goals, the way you work towards your original goal looks different. And that's okay too. As long as you're doing the things that make you happy. That's what I don't want my kids to do. I don't want my kids to do things that make me happy. I want my kids to do things that make them happy. And because I'm not them, and we've not had the same experiences, what makes me happy may not be what makes them happy. And it may take them a while to figure out what makes them happy, you know? I mean, when I was in college, I had goals, certainly, and I thought I knew where my life was going. Has not turned out to be anywhere really where my life ended up. When I first started college, I was going to be in business. I was a business major, and I can't even tell you at this point what I thought I was going to do with that business degree. It's been so long, I don't remember. But yeah, I just halfway through that decided, you know what, this is not for me. changed my major, and off I went with an eye towards becoming a teacher. And that isn't where I ended up. I ended up married with kids and, you know, working in a job that it was okay, it was not, you know, it wasn't teaching, and it wasn't something certainly that I considered a career. And at some point after my kids were older, I decided that my goals changed again. I didn't want that job anymore. I went back to school, got my master's degree and my teaching certificate, and I started to teach. And that's what my life looked like for quite some time. And then lots of life things happened. My mom got sick. I got divorced. And things looked a lot different for a while. And then I met my amazing husband, and things changed even more because he came here from Canada. So that was an adjustment for all of us. And, you know, life just changes. I stayed home for a while to be that stay-at-home mom for my kids, which was amazing, and I loved it. I loved being able to do that and be there for them through some of those formative years, which I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And, you know, go to their games and their events and just be there to be their kind of cheering section. And after they both got old enough that, you know, I didn't need to be that stay-at-home mom as much anymore, I got a job teaching at a preschool, which is where I am now. And I've really enjoyed it, which is kind of funny because, you know, at the time I took it because I thought, okay, it's something that'll get me out of the house. I was going a little stir crazy staying home as much as I was, and it's turned out to be something that I really enjoy, for more reasons than it just gets me out of the house. Kids are amazing, and it's always something, you know, bad or good. You know, it's not all roses just because it's working with kids. Kids are crazy sometimes, but sometimes they're just downright amazing, and those are the moments that make my job worth it. Even if it's just watching one of the little ones try to put their foot down. I work with my sister. We work in the same classroom, and so some days watching the kids interact with her is hilarious. And I'm sure she would say the same about me. Because, you know, we all have off days. Some days things are no big deal and slide off your back, and some days, man, it's the last straw, isn't it? So and it's always interesting to see how other people's children react to certain things, or just to see how kids in general react to certain things, because everybody's different, right? So yeah, life changes, and where you think you may end up or where you want to end up may not be where you actually end up. The secret is being happy with where you are. I mean, it's okay to want to change where you are. That's cool. But I don't want to discourage anyone from trying to achieve their goals. That's not my point at all. I just think, you know, try to find happiness where you can, because life is short, like I said. So, wow, I'm really philosophical this morning, you guys. What's up with that? Is it because I went out and walked? Is it because my husband is going to be gone? I don't sleep well when he's gone. So I always am anxious for him to return home just so I can get a good night's sleep. Because I don't think he sleeps as well when he's not here either, but he's busy with work and focused on those kind of things, and so it's a little easier for him in some respects, I think. Although I'm sure he'd say it's easier for me because I'm not the one sweating my booty off outside when it's 9 billion degrees here. So whenever he goes to work, he's really good about just, you know, he's really good about money in general, which is good. That was a huge source of frustration in my first marriage, and I never wanted to do that again. And he's really good about, when we talk about spending money on things, it's just money. That's his attitude towards a lot of it. And I get that that's, you know, a privilege that a lot of people don't have. I understand that. But it makes our life a lot easier. Anyway, I jokingly tell him that when he says, I don't want to go to work tomorrow, that he has to go to work because he has to, either I tell him that he has to keep me in diamond paintings. That's a recent development. I used to tell him all the time, but you have to go to work so that you can keep me in the style to which I want to become accustomed. Because at some point, we'll be empty nesters. Not sure when that will be, but at some point we will be. And when we are, then we have things we'd like to do, like travel and, you know, have money to do some of the things that we want to do when we retire. So we're not there yet. I wish we were, but not quite. Get my youngest through college, and then we'll see where we're at. Hopefully that's not too far off. And you know, life may change before then. Something may happen and our plans may change, but until then, that's the plan. So we want to move to Canada eventually. That's where most of his family is. I have family here, but we're kind of probably going to be spread out here shortly. My sister's kids are getting older, and as they graduate and move on and do their thing, she probably is going to move on to be wherever they end up. And, you know, planes, trains, and automobiles, we can travel to see each other. We'll have to do something to keep ourselves busy. My husband is not the type to sit around. He can't even really sit around on a weekend. He's got to be up doing something, so fairly certain he's not going to be happy just sitting around doing nothing in retirement. Me, I can just diamond paint, right? That's my current plan. I'll just diamond paint. I'll just diamond paint, do my YouTube stuff. Wherever we end up, it's all good. I'll just do that. So we'll see how that goes for me. May not wind up the way I want, which is, you know, it's okay. It's all good. Got to be able to roll with the punches, right? Man, I meant to change the subject, and here I am waxing philosophical again. Oh, you guys. Let's talk about something not quite so deep, like life and the meaning of everything, because it's 42, right? Bonus brownie points if you get that reference. Okay, I think that's all of this color. I could try to stick them here, but I kind of Got a wonky release paper there, so I'm going to call that good for now. Nope, I missed 2. See, that's why I always go over them, because I always miss them. I've had to get used to that. It used to kind of drive me crazy, but after working on Diana, I have just decided, you know, I'm just going to have to touch things at least twice probably. So it's all good. It's all part of the journey. So, okay, I think I really am done with that color now. I can put this one away and get out my other one. What do I want to talk about? Let's see. Let's look at my notes. Let's see. Let's talk about money. Nobody ever wants to talk about money. And I think that's kind of sad. I think because we don't talk about money, our kids miss a lot of important lessons. So I know when I was growing up, my mom was super secretive about the money my dad made. Like, she never left his paycheck laying around. Back when you actually got paper paychecks, remember those? Everything wasn't digital, direct deposit, PayPal, etc., etc. Yeah, I'm that old. Anyway, my mom was always super secretive about it, which I didn't understand, but, you know, whatever. It was her prerogative, so she wanted to be secretive about it, whatever. I mean, I was a kid. It didn't matter to me what Dad made, necessarily. I just was curious. And I think when you do that, you know, you kind of give kids a skewed idea of how things are going to be when they enter the workforce. Because, you know, most of the time when you have kids, you're a little more settled. And at least that's been my experience. When I had kids, my husband and I both worked. So we had 2 incomes. We were pretty comfortable. And, you know, I just think it's a good idea to give your kids an idea of what's what, you know, so they can prepare themselves for the future. Otherwise, I think they have unrealistic expectations about what their lives are going to look like when they graduate, you know. For instance, when I was growing up, we lived in a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. And my parents had 3 kids. So, yeah, 3 of us shared 1 bathroom. I know people today would be like, "What? You shared 1 bathroom? I would never do that." Well, we did, and we survived. I mean, was it great? No. Did we appreciate when we moved and we had more than 1 bathroom? Yes, we did. But we knew that was I think we appreciated that extra bathroom more because we knew what it was like to only have the 1. I think that's, you know, the thing for me is that it's hard for a kid to appreciate things because they've always had them. You know, I jokingly tell my kids that, I mean, my kids have grown up with the internet, with cell phones, with microwaves. Those things have existed as long as they've been alive. And so the concept of not having those things is foreign to them. Just like, you know, I grew up with a washer and dryer, so the concept of not having a washer and dryer in your house was foreign to me because we had one, and so I just assumed everybody else did too. And it wasn't until I got older and, you know, lived in my first apartment that, what? I don't have a washer and dryer at my beck and call. I've got to go down to the gross basement and do my laundry there. No thanks. So, you know, back to Mom's house it was with my laundry. But, you know, again, I think you just kind of take those things for granted. When I moved into my first apartment, I'd never really had to buy my own groceries and things before. I mean, I'd been shopping with my mom, but I'd never, you know, it never been just for me. I could just buy the things that I wanted, and I'd never had to buy like my own shampoo. You know, Mom, I need shampoo, and Mom would buy it. Well, gosh, that shampoo I like so much cost $12. Maybe I want to buy the shampoo that only costs $4 because that seems a little pricey all of a sudden on my budget, you know? And that's another thing. I don't think kids learn how to budget anymore. So, and I mean, I know I struggled with that as an adult, trying to figure out, you know, you're so busy trying to keep up with the Joneses and buying the latest new thing. And I think we just get so caught up in the rat race sometimes you don't stop to think about, do I actually want this thing? Do I actually need this thing? That drives my husband crazy about me because, you know, I have a cell phone. I've had a cell phone for years. When I first started teaching, I worked in a very, very rural area. I was quite a distance from my home, and I had to live, or I lived over an hour away, and I had to drive through some pretty rural areas where we're talking, you know, I could have very easily hit a deer every day on my way to work. And so because of that, just for safety reasons, so that, you know, I didn't get stuck somewhere and wouldn't be able to call, I had, gosh, remember bag phones that you put in your cars? I had one of those. And so I've maintained that number as my cell phone since then. And so even though I was an early adopter of cell phones, you know, I don't need the latest and greatest thing. I need a phone that is a phone. You know, when texting became the big thing, I learned how to text. I still miss my BlackBerry because I could text like nobody's business on that thing. I am much slower on a smartphone. I miss that tactile keyboard. But, you know, it is what it is. I have my husband's hand-me-down phone. That's the phone I use as my cell phone, is his 2 phones ago phone. The phone I film with is his last cell phone. And it drives him crazy that I don't want to upgrade mine. And I'm like, why do I need to upgrade it? It still works. There's nothing wrong with it. Yes, it doesn't have, you know, actually, I was going to say it doesn't have all the fancy things, but I don't even know that that's true. I mean, it does what I needed to do. For my phone, I needed to make phone calls. I need to be able to text. And occasionally, I need to be able to check my email. And I can do all of that with that phone. I do use my phone for work sometimes, so we use our phones we hook into YouTube, and then we can put it up on the TV, the smart TVs in our classrooms for the kids, for music videos, or so we dance to music with the kids at school for music time, and also for educational stuff, you know, videos about dinosaurs and animals and, you know, whatever we happen to be working on that week. And it does all those things, so I don't need to upgrade. He, as soon as the next generation of phone comes out, he wants it. Whether he needs it or not, he wants it. Which I suppose is okay. I mean, you know, I get his hand-me-down, so it's all good for that reason. But, of course, he tends to drop his phones a lot. Both of the phones currently have cracked screens, which is no big deal to me because the one that's the worst is the one I used to film with, and you guys can never tell that, so it's all good, right? Still works just fine, and it lets me do all the things that I want to do. And, you know, admittedly, it's taken some kind of figuring out to get where I want it to be so that it will work for me for filming and everything, but it does. I mean, I want to upgrade eventually, of course, to some better equipment, but until I can do that, this works fine, right? Make do with what you have. And I mean, and I could spend the money. We have it. I could spend the money to upgrade right now. I just don't want to. I don't see the need. Like I said, I'm working just fine with the setup that I have. Could it be better? Sure, of course, always. but for right now, it's good enough for me. Because I don't think the return is worth it. Like I could invest in a whole bunch of equipment right now, but I don't, is that equipment going to net me a bunch of new followers and explode my YouTube channel? No, it isn't. So it's not worth it to me yet. Oh, and I see one that I missed. Darn it. See, that's the way it goes. Oh well. Anyway. So yeah, back to finances. That's one of the things, when my oldest started working, because she works full time while she goes to school, and started having to do, fill out forms for Social Security, and the job that she has, they automatically sign her up for a retirement account because she's considered an employee of the state. And just kind of, going over, gosh, Mom, what is a 401k? What's a retirement account? Why do I need these things? How do I pick a beneficiary? How do I, just things that she's never had to deal with before. And we don't have those kind of conversations with our kids anymore, I don't think. I don't, at least here, they don't really teach any of that in school anymore. I mean, my oldest was watching me pay bills one day and didn't know how to fill out a check, because they don't do that. Everything is digital. Everything is, I'll PayPal you, even her paychecks are a direct deposit. So, she doesn't have that experience either. And, that was an experience in and of itself. Just, okay, Mom, they need to set it up for a direct deposit. How do I do that? What information do they need? And explaining, routing numbers and your account numbers on your bank account and how you get that all set up, because she didn't have a blank deposit slip or a blank check to give them because she doesn't use those things. So, when we set that account up for her, she was much younger. So she just had a debit card. And, since she started working, that's all she uses is her debit card, because that's all she needs for most things. And so, yeah, there was just a learning curve on some of that. And so, when she asked me questions about renting an apartment and signing a lease and, how do Medicare and Social Security work and, other things that she should or shouldn't be doing with her money, and, how do savings account works, how do things like CDs work, none of that, got taught in school. And so, I think we do our kids a real disservice in some ways by not teaching them explicitly those things. I saw a post on, I think it was Pinterest, and it was like, I'm so glad I learned the Pythagorean theorem in school. It comes in really handy when I need to do, when it's Pythagorean theorem day. And it was on tax day that they were posting it. So clearly it was, someone struggling with how to do their taxes. And let's be real, here in the US, gosh, if you do your own taxes, kudos to you. Luckily for me, I have an accountant in the family, and I pay them to do my taxes because, oh boy, the way the government works some days is just nuts. So, yeah. If I can pay someone to do that for me, I would much rather do that than, I mean, I can do it, don't get me wrong. I have done it. I do not enjoy it. I would much rather pay someone else to do that headache. So, and our taxes aren't even complicated. I mean, it's just us, and we rarely do anything beyond basic deductions. So our taxes are not complicated, but yeah, never have been my favorite thing to do. Even when I was younger and I could fill out the easy form because it was just me, when I still lived at home with my folks. Plus, I get irritated every year because of the state I live in when I do my state taxes. So I always set it up so that we owe state taxes because our state double taxes us. They claim it's not double taxation, but it is. Because if I get a refund on my state taxes because, you know, I overpaid this year and they collected too much, then you're required to claim it on your taxes next year, which, you know, they claim is not double taxation, but my argument has been, okay, so I get a refund this year. Next year I don't work at all and I have zero income. I shouldn't have to pay any taxes. I have zero income. But they'll say, oh no, I have to claim that refund because they paid it out to me in that calendar year. Well, yes, you did, but it was money that you returned to me because you took too much based on what I made the previous year. So it's actually money I made in the previous year. You just gave it to me in this calendar year. And, you know, even though I'm right and they're wrong, they're the government and I lose, right? So I just always set it up so that we have to pay every year, because then I don't have to get frustrated with the whole situation. So, but yeah, taxes are crazy. Anyway, all that to say, I think our kids need to be more financially savvy. My youngest wanted to invest in the cryptocurrency market, which I know absolutely nothing about. I mean, I've heard of it, of course, but I don't play in the stock market other than I have retirement accounts that are invested in the stock market, but I don't like trade stocks or anything like that because it's all crazy to me. Like the fact that companies that don't ever turn a profit are worth billions is insane to me. So a company that's never actually made any money is worth billions. But then a company who made, say, $1 billion is suddenly worth less because they thought they were going to make $1.5 billion and they only made $1 billion. So they get punished, right? And also the stock market is self-fulfilling. If people panic that it's going to go bad, it goes bad. If people think it's going to go good, it goes good, right? So if it's based on how people think, then it's not really based on the stock performance, is it? So yeah, I just have issues with the stock market in general as a concept. So to me, it's too much mob mentality. And don't get me wrong, I'd love to be smart enough to be able to invest and earn millions of dollars. That'd certainly make my life easier. But yeah, numbers have never been my thing. Words are my thing. So that's why teaching English was my thing. I still get to do it with my preschool kids. Not quite the same way as when I was teaching high school, but it's all good. Preschoolers are a lot less trouble, as you can imagine, than high schoolers. For the most part. I enjoyed the philosophical discussions I got to have with some of my students in high school, but a lot of the other junk that went along with it, the politics of teaching in a public school, were not for me. The politics of dealing with parents are not for me. I mean, I still have to deal with parents as a preschool teacher, but you know, preschool is not required. It's a lot more laid back. Yeah, the stakes just aren't as high in preschool, so I think that has something to do with it. Parents are just more relaxed in general because, you know, it's preschool. Did your kid finger paint and have a good time today? Then it's all good. I mean, of course, we want them to learn something as well. But that's also, you know, for me, I think sometimes we put our kids in too many things too early. Like, let them have time to be kids. Let them have time to play and grow and learn before you shove them into ballet and gymnastics. And not that there's anything wrong with those things, but I think sometimes we spend so much time being busy, running around and doing all the things, we forget to enjoy it. I don't want to be one of those people that turns around at the end and goes, ugh, I should have done this, this, and this. Or I spent all my time doing this and I would rather have been doing that, you know? I mean, I get that there are some things that you have to do. You don't have a choice, you know? We all have to work. We have to support, well, I guess not all of us have to work. Some of us are lucky enough to be, you know, born into wealth. That certainly was not me. So we have to work to support ourselves so that we can do the things we want to do. And, you know, again, the things we do want to do look different. Some people's dream vacation might be to go skiing. Not me. I mean, I'd like to go skiing once just to see what it's like, because I've never been skiing. But I doubt it's something I would want to do over and over and over and over. Just because, I don't know, it just doesn't, throwing myself down a mountain doesn't sound that appealing. But maybe that's somebody's dream. So, heck, for all I know, it could be one of my kids' dreams. I don't think they've figured out exactly what they want to do yet, but that's okay. That's what I try to tell them. As long as you're happy, that's what I want. I mean, I guess I should say that I want them to be happy, but I also want them to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Yes, be happy, but also I want them to be comfortable. You know, I know that we live a certain lifestyle, and I know that lifestyle is based on the money that my husband makes. And, you know, again, I don't want them to have this skewed idea that they're going to make that kind of money right out of college, because they're not. You know, my husband's been in his line of work for 25 plus years, and he has, well, to be honest, kind of a weird job that doesn't work like most other jobs. My husband has a kind of job where he can just move pretty much anywhere in the U.S. and find work because of what he does. That's not true for most jobs. And so trying to explain how the field of teaching works and how you find work and how it works once you get hired and all of that, as my daughter works towards her teaching degree, has been interesting. My youngest doesn't know what he wants to do yet. He has some ideas, but, you know, I want them to have a college degree because I know that will make finding a job easier, and it will also afford them a better job. Because we just don't live somewhere that you could work at, you know, McDonald's, or even do what my oldest is doing. She's working as a para at a school. It's not enough money that she can live comfortably on her own and do all the things that she wants to do. Or, you know, and I'm not even talking about she wants to travel or whatever. That kind of job doesn't make her enough money that, you know, once she's fully on her own and she's doing things like paying rent and buying her own groceries and things like that, it's not enough. And I know some people make do on way less, but, you know, you want more for your kids, right? Although I think sometimes, like I said, that's where unrealistic expectations come in, because they think that they're going to live the same life they've been living, you know, under your roof when they move out. And that's not usually been how it worked, you know. I've tried to encourage my kids to save so that they have money when they move out to do things like put down deposit on an apartment or make a down payment on a car, or, you know, some of those big life things. But, you know, if they've never done that until they moved out, gosh, how do they understand how a lease works? How do they know, you know, how do they know how getting a bank account works if they've never had to do it on their own? And that was actually a discussion in my house. So, yeah, it's just, I think sometimes things that we take for granted because we learned how to do them, that they're just, because they've never been exposed to it, they don't know what to do. Like writing cursive. You know, my kids never learned really to write cursive. Was something they kind of shoved to the wayside because my kids, you know, when they were that age that they would have been learning cursing. Whoa, was that a Freudian slip? When my kids were of the age they would have been learning cursive, we were still in the No Child Left Behind. Those of you who are in the States will know what that means. If you don't know what that means, count yourself lucky. Anyway, we were still in the midst of that, and so cursive kind of got shoved by the wayside in favor of other things. And so, which, you know, in the scheme of things is probably not that huge of a deal, but, you know, then we went to travel to Canada. And so, of course, my kids needed passports. And that was an adventure in and of itself. But anyway, we got passports. And then, of course, once you get your passport, you're supposed to sign it. And both my kids just looked at me. Well, what do you mean I have to sign it? I don't know how to sign my name. I mean, what? You have to sign every legal document ever. How? So, yeah, that was a process of just trying to kind of, you know, one, in the moment, couldn't really, I can't, you know, take 2 or 3 months to teach you cursive. We're leaving on a trip. But yeah, it was just one of those, oh, you know, I hadn't occurred to me that they wouldn't learn it. So, and it had never come up until that point. And so then when it did, it was like, oh, okay, we need to rectify that because, yeah, you're going to need to at least you know how to sign your name. I don't think, you know, do they still accept signing with an X these days? I didn't think they did, but what do I know? I don't work in a bank. So, okay, guys, I'm getting close to being done with this section, but I have rambled for so long. I'm also getting close to being done with this whip and chat. Okay, this wax in my pen is making me crazy right now. Okay. And I missed a couple of that other color, so I'm going to finish these, filling these in, and then I'm going to fill in those extra colors. And then I'm probably going to call it good because I have missed a phone call from my hubby. And he's supposed to be calling me to tell me where he's going to be because he left for work this morning without knowing where he was going to be working for the next little while. And I would like to know that and to know what he's doing. Plus, if he's going to be driving somewhere on the road, he likes to chit-chat so he can keep himself from being bored because sometimes they drive quite a ways and it can be quite boring. So, finish this little section and I will move on to the next. I've got a little bit of straightening to do because some of these drills are not lining up the nicest, but I'll get there. right? Some of this you won't be able to see once I get finished, but I also need to roll over some of these, I think, and get them to lay a little bit flatter. Once I get them pressed into place, maybe my lines will be a little bit straighter. Anyway, I think I still waxed too philosophical for that whole thing, but that was almost an hour of chatting and my voice is tired, so I'm gonna call it there. So thanks for joining me, you guys. I hope you had time to work on something of your own while you listen to me blither and blather. As always, on your way out, don't forget to do all the things. Hit the thumbs up if you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell if you want to be informed of future uploads like this one. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.